Hi, I'm Jafrina Anthony from the Zoho Mail team. I'm happy to welcome you all to yet another session. I hope the session will be useful and worthwhile for all of you. In today's webinar, we'll be discussing migration and specifically about migration from Google Workspace to Zoho Mail. Now, let's take the current situation. New Year is right around the corner. And when we think of New Year, the first thing that strikes our mind is resolution and change. All of us might want to implement some changes for the betterment and furtherance of our lifestyle. When we think to implement such small or big changes, there will be obstacles en route to fulfilling the same. However, what we all expect is a smooth transition from the current state to the better. Likewise, we may use a lot of Office Suite software for our day to day office or personal work. And one such important part of the Office Suite is email. We might think to change our email provider for any given reason, like we might expect more privacy environment, an ad-free page, more organized workspace, integration with most of the other Office apps that we use. During this research process, we might even find the right provider that will meet our requirements. However, the major problem is transition. The immediate question that arises is how. We might have saved a lot of data, email data, contacts, calendar events for a whole year ahead, and thinking to move all this from the existing provider to a new one is such a tedious and formidable task. And you will need more trust in the new provider to move forward. For all the above queries, we have a solution. Smooth and easy migration from one server to the other. We offer G Suite migration tool, which will help in transferring the data from Google Workspace to Zoho Mail. This tool is inclusive in all the paid and free plan without any additional cost. And for any assistance during the migration process, we also have 24/7 email, call, and chat support. Now that we know the solution, let's see what we need to get started. Earlier, the authentication of each user account has to be done separately. Now, it is even more simpler. You will only need the Google admin credentials to authorize, and we will be able to migrate all of the users' data as well in just one click. Isn't that amazing? Moving on, let's see what all data we can migrate. For our business, we might be using a domain for many years, and changing the email provider does not mean changing the domain too. Using the migration tool, you will be able to migrate all of the email addresses along with their aliases and groups with the aliases without any change. The same set of email addresses can be migrated from Google Workspace to Zoho Mail. About the data that can be migrated, in IMAP or POP protocol migration, the protocol will allow only the migration of email data. However, the Google Workspace protocol, with the help of API, facilitates migration of email and contacts along with calendar. So this is one of the main aspect of Google Workspace migration tool that we have. Before we jump into the actual migration process, there are a few important pointers which the admins have to take a note. I will be sharing slides to help you understand better. All right, so I have shared one of the slides here. All right, in Gmail, the email can be classified into different labels. And when you migrate them from Zoho Mail, the labels will be migrated as folders. So when an email is received in Gmail, it will fall into inbox, and for our convenience and reference, we will label the emails. in the screenshot, which you will find at the left side, I have highlighted the labels. When this specific email is migrated over to Zoho Mail, the labels will be created as folders. You may also check the highlighted part in the second screenshot. Based on our experience, folders are more organized and structured. All right. So in the next slide, we'll see how each of the emails are migrated. Let's take the first email as example, which I have highlighted in the screenshot. In Gmail, a mail is received in the inbox folder, and the same email has multiple labels. Due to the Gmail's behavior and overlapping labels for a single email, when it is migrated to Zoho Mail, a copy will be migrated to inbox and the corresponding folders. Say if that email is 5 MB, 20 MB size will be occupied in Zoho Mail due to Gmail's overlapping label structure. However, to avoid that, we have an option in the migration tool to exclude emails from inbox if there are multiple emails for a single mail, multiple labels for a single mail. Also, it is recommended to keep the overlapping labels to a minimum in Gmail. The same I have highlighted in the screenshots for your reference. Moving on, uh, let's see how important starred emails and tags are treated from from Gmail to Zoho Mail. Any email that is conversational or needs attention, Gmail will automatically mark that email as important. The email under the important label in Gmail will usually be present in other labels as well. In the migration tool that we offer, we have two options. You may mark important as tag and mark starred as tag. Emails that have been marked as important in Gmail will be added under the G-important tag in Zoho Mail. Likewise for G-starred tag and likewise for the starred email as well. A tag will be applied as G-starred in Zoho Mail. Both G-important and G-start tags, which I've highlighted in Zoho Mail inbox screenshot, are just views and will not occupy any additional space. So you can just view those important tags or start tags, which is automatically classified in Gmail. So when it comes to Zoho Mail, it will be available only as tags. They are only views. Next question will be how archived emails are treated. Archived emails will also be migrated and will be under the inbox folder in Zoho Mail. So you may unarchive from the inbox folder and check those emails. We shall now see what other options we have which can help the admin efficiently. Let us take an example. If an admin needs to perform a migration for any user immediately with a few folders or only a subfolder, we have an option in the tool to choose specific folder. In this slide, you will see how the folder conversion can be done to migrate specific set of folders. This folder convention is also available in the help document. You may refer that for further reference later on. All right, so now let's move on to contacts and calendar. So as discussed earlier, the IMAP or POP protocol will allow only migration of email data, but using the Google Workspace protocol migration, we will be able to migrate contacts and calendar data, not only for the admin account, but also for the users. There are only few points which you have to make a note when it comes to contacts and calendar. In case a contact is saved but with no data in Gmail, then that specific contact will not be migrated over to Zoho Mail. At least one field should be available. For calendar, to migrate the calendar data properly, the source and destination domain should be similar. If it is similar, then we will be able to fetch in all the details and bring the calendar information. So no manual work of exporting the contacts or calendar from the existing provider and importing them to Zoho Mail. We can just go with one click away and migrate those data as well. Okay, so now we have covered all the information about the data migration. Let me just share a poll. Okay, so I have shared a poll to see if any of us have tried the migration part already. We'll just wait for a few seconds for the poll to get completed. All right. Okay. I will share a pre-recorded authentication and migration process video. While this video is playing, I will also express the process. So this will be the Zoho Mail inbox. From the inbox, we have to go to the admin console. From the admin console, we can choose, since we are going to migrate users, groups, and email data along with contacts and calendars, the authentication process is one time. So we can just authenticate in the user section and proceed to migrate all the other data. It is not required to do the authentication for fetching each and every data. So let's now go to users section. There will be an option as import from Google Workspace, create a new import. And in this page, you will have three information that needs to be filled. The first one is Google Workspace superadmin email address, which we already know, service account email address, and you will have an option to upload a secret key file. So for the two options that we do not know, we will be authenticating that from the Google Developer Console. We have given a detailed help document right above. If you there will be an option as click here for more details. In that we will have the step-by-step instruction which we will be following. Even I will be using the help document to proceed further. All right. So in the help document, you will see these 3 points which should be used. First off, you will have to create a G Suite service account. Then we'll have to enable the API access. Then you'll have to grant permission to the service account. We will do it one by one. First, let us go ahead and create a service account. If you click on that link, it will go to the relevant page. And from here, you will have to choose Google Developer Console. And we will be creating a service account and downloading the key which has to be uploaded. So this will be the Google Developer Console. From here, you will have an option to create a project, which will be at the top right. Click on create a project. You can provide any project name of your choice. Click on create. The project is now created. In this process, it might take a couple of seconds, so you'll have to wait for it. Then I'm creating a service account. You can give any service name for your reference. Click on create and continue. Next, you will have to give the role access. I'm choosing the owner option. Continue. If you click on it, if you click on this service account that we just created, here you will see the email and unique ID. So this is the service account, and this unique ID is known as the client ID, which we will be using for authorizing the APIs later on. So you have to make a note of these two. Moving on, let's download a key. So go to the key section, choose add key, create a new key. So you have to choose this P12 option and a key will be downloaded. Okay. Now we have completed the first part. The second part will be enabling the API access. You will have to enable the API access to grant permission to migrate calendar, contacts, email data. So we'll have to do this process from Google API library. I'm copying each of the API from the help document, and I will be pasting it in Google Workspace and enable this. Likewise, we will be doing the same procedure for all the APIs. All right, we will be doing the same for all the APIs. Contacts API. Now we will go to CalDAV. The same procedure for all of the APIs. You can just click on enable. Then next will be the admin SDK. Copying it. You can paste it here and enable it. Next will be the final one will be Google People API. All right, now we have completed enabling the API access for all as well. Now the third option will be to grant access to the service account, which we will be doing from the API control section. Log into the G Suite account and we have to go to the security menu, access data control, API controls. From here, choose manage domain wide delegation. As discussed earlier, the client ID will be used here, the unique ID which was generated during the service account. That unique ID will be used here. So I already have the page open, so I'm just copying it from this page. All right. For the auth scopes, we have given the details. We have given the scopes already in the help document. You can simply copy it and paste it. So all these scopes has to be copied and pasted here. And finally, click on authorize. The procedure that has to be done in Google Workspace admin console is done. Now the details has to be entered in Zoho Mail control panel. So let's see what all details we have to enter. We know the super admin email address of Google Workspace account. You may enter it. Next, the service account which we generated. You can just copy and paste it. Upload the key that we downloaded in the first step. Now all this is done. Now we can just click on authenticate and proceed. Great. So now we have authenticated and we have come to the process of importing users. Okay, so the user list is now fetched from Google Workspace to Zoho Mail. You can see it in this video. You can see all the users. These are the users that are available in Google Workspace. And since we have authenticated, all of them have been listed down. So we can choose all the users or any specific selected users for the first batch, and you can proceed with the process. I'm just choosing one user. Click on proceed. So you can name the import. For example, if we have many number of users in the organization, we might do the import in batches. For this, naming of the import will be useful in this case. You can provide a password for the users for the first login, and you can share it with them. During the next login, they can reset the password if you choose the option force users to change password. So along with the email address, alias and phone number can also be migrated. So this will be the page where you will see the progress of the user import. As soon as you click on as soon as you start the process, this will be the page. Now let this get started. We'll go to groups. The same process can be followed. Import from Google Workspace, import. Since we have already authenticated an account, it is already listed. So we can just proceed by adding. Proceed. I'm selecting a few groups just for our reference. You can choose all the groups or you can do it in batches based on the admin's preference. Same, you can give the name. It is for the admin's reference. So this will be the page where you can monitor the status of import. You will also have a refresh option at the right corner, which you can use to check the status. All right. So now we will get a success message, import status successful. At the top bar, you can check the progress from here as well. All right, moving on. So we have this filter option as well, where you can see the status of completed groups, in progress, and failed. So this filter option will be very much useful when you're doing multiple group migration. So in the next option, we will see data migration. So this data migration will include email, contacts, and calendar. Let's see how we can do it. Create a migration, provide a name. Right, you can use Google Workspace. Already, since it is already authenticated, we have the account listed. So you can choose mail, contacts, and calendar. The points that we discussed already, how the emails are classified. So based on the admin's preference, you can mark the email to exclude from inbox, mark important as tag, and choose mark start as tag. You can select or deselect based on the admin's preference. All right. So here you will have an option as maximum connection limit. For example, if you are doing a migration for 50 user accounts, it is recommended to change the maximum connection from 5 to 10 to get 10 simultaneous connection. If first of the 10 accounts will get migrated, the next batch will start. Likewise, so depending on the user you import, you can change the connection limit. Now I'm just creating the migration. Okay. Now all the data that we have entered, this is a summary of all the configuration that we've done. You can check. And next option will be importing the users for data migration. For user addition, we have three options. You can either import a CSV file, manually enter the data and enter a CSV file, or fetch or add users. You can also manually select the users and add selective accounts or fetch the users. So we have these three options. Based on the admin's preference, you may go with any of the option. So I'm just choosing and selecting one account for migration and choosing the destination. Adding it. Okay, now it is done. Now we can go ahead and start the migration. After you start the migration, here at the bottom, you will have about migration and refresh. You can click the refresh option once in a while and check how much data has been migrated. Likewise, if you click on the user destination email address, you will have a detailed summary page of what data has been migrated. Whatever email, contact, or calendar, you can check the number of emails or number of contacts that has been migrated or in progress as well. I hope this video was useful. So okay. Now that we've discussed and saw the authentication process, we will see what challenges we might face during the migration process. We have seen the video of a successful migration, but we might encounter few challenges during this process. I have shared the details in this slide. I will be explaining a few of the errors and challenges we might face. First off will be internal error. Second. All right, so the internal error will occur. There will be an option in the migration page as remove installed apps. If the Google Workspace app is removed from the installed apps section, and if we try to add the migration, the internal error will be thrown. So we'll have to make sure that the app is authenticated and installed for the migration to proceed. So we will get another error called invalid details. For example, if any of the API, we saw a lot of APIs that has to be enabled. If we miss out any of the API, then we will get the invalid details error message. So there is another error called invalid user details. I will show the screenshot. So this is one of the common error that many of us might make. There was two options, the super admin email address section and the service admin account section. If we interchange the email address and input that interchanged data, we will get the invalid user details error. Before the migration process, the admins has to make sure that the trial or the subscription is valid and has not expired. So that will help the admins to to plan the migration in a better way. So they have to make sure that the trial or subscription is valid in the Google Workspace account. So in the next slide, I will show the progress of email migration. If you see the first half of the screenshot, you will see this is the detailed progress image. So I have taken the screenshot of a completed migration where you will see the number of emails that has migrated. You will also have the failed count and the size of the total email. At the top bar, you will have mail failure reasons as well and contacts and calendar data. In one tab, you will be able to see the progress of all the data that has been migrated. So let me share a few of the mail failure reasons. In the second screenshot, if you see, I have highlighted an email that has been failed in the folders important in inbox for the reason size exceeded. If the size of the email exceeds the policy limit, then you will get this error and the email will be put under the mail failure section. All right. The next will be mail already present. As the name suggests, if an email is already migrated, to avoid duplication, the mail already present error will be thrown and we will list that in the report section. Likewise, we have an option if the storage limit is reached 80% or 95% of the mailbox size in Zoho Mail, the migration will get aborted. Only when the admin purchases additional storage and allocates it to the required user account, the admin can resume the migration. So if the threshold limit is reached, then migration will be suspended automatically. This is to avoid any block, incoming or outgoing block in the user account of Zoho Mail. If it is a functional account and to avoid any blocks, we have given this migration suspension option. Okay, now that we've covered almost the process and the challenges, here are some common questions which we usually get. When can the migration be done? We suggest admins to do the migration during weekends or less business traffic hours so that the functionality of email usage is not affected. We usually suggest users to first update the MX records and then go with the migration because the new emails will be delivered to the Zoho Mail account automatically and you don't have to redo the migration for the left out dates. For example, if you are performing a migration on Friday and changing the MX records on Sunday, you will see a gap of 2 days data missing. In that case, uh, you may prefer to choose a specific date and proceed with the migration as well. However, for effective usage, we always recommend to change the MX records beforehand and then proceed with the migration. So the next question that we get is, how long will it take to migrate the data? The time for migration depends solely on two factors, size and number of emails. If the size is large but number of emails is less, then the migration will take more time compared to many emails with lesser size. It also depends on the network and source server connection. So based on observation, for email with mailbox with 2 GB data, it will take around an hour. And with 10 accounts with 10 GB data each, it might take around 4 to 5 hours. This is an approx calculation based on our observation. So it also depends on the network connection and the connectivity that Google Workspace gives to Zoho Mail server. The next common question is, can we continue using our email and other apps in the system when we initiate the migration? Yes, the migration will keep running in the backend. You may continue to use the system and Zoho Mail in the meantime. All right, we have completed almost everything.